So last time we were talking about Mortal Kombat, we were talking about a god, one of the single most powerful characters in this setting. This time, we'll be talking about someone a little more down to earth. For there is no man as manly as Major Jackson Briggs.
That are alive coming with me.
ZX Spider-Man Commodore 128 and 64. I hit the floor, I hit the shore. Got gaming skills from days of yore. I close the deck, computer rolls, play until my hands are sore.
Welcome to Beef Snake Nerdcast. I'm your host, Bolter. So today we're talking about the more mundane but no less badass side of Mortal Kombat. Because at the end of the day, this is about the fate of mortals. It's right there in the title, after all. Major Jackson Jax Briggs is one of the most influential characters in the original Mortal Kombat timeline, to the extent that it actually surprised me a little. I mean, I knew he was around, but I just didn't think his part was this big. First things first, Jax is a member of the United States Special Forces. Yeah, like those special forces, analogous to the real-world military detachment. Man, Mortal Kombat is wild. So Jax was on a team with fellow Special Forces member and best friend, Sonya Blade, tracking down and putting away criminal organizations. Their latest target? The Black Dragons. The Black Dragons' leader, Kano, had staged a breakout of his top lieutenants, and Jarek. In doing so, Kano had also killed Sonya's old partner. That made it personal. So Jax suited up with his experimental cybernetic arm implants and a gun to track down and put down the Black Dragons. Jax did some good tidying up, but only 2 members got away. Jarek, no big deal there, and Kano. That's a problem. Kano in particular managed to stow away on a strange ship, but Sonya had also managed to board that ship in pursuit. And that's how they both made it to the first Mortal Kombat tournament. Around this time, Jax uninstalled his cybernetic arms, figuring they were a little bit overkill for stopping run-of-the-mill criminals and mob bosses. Eventually, Jax became worried about Sonya, who had not returned from the tournament, not helping the fact that Kano had not been seen since either. Jax eventually would get a rundown of the whole situation involving the Mortal Kombat tournament by renowned action movie star Johnny Cage, and didn't take the guy seriously for a minute. And I can't blame Jax. He had just pulled Cage out of the water near a Special Forces headquarters location, and now the guy was going on about ancient gods, invaders from another dimension, soul-stealing sorcerers. This must be some kind of publicity stunt, right? Ironically, Cage thought the same thing when he joined the tournament, and it took him a while to come around. Jax and Johnny wouldn't need to argue about this for much longer as they received a long-distance call from Sonya. She and Kano were trapped in a dimension called Outworld and were being hunted by Outworld's ruler, Shao Kahn. If Sonya was working with Kano, Jax knew the situation was desperate. Jax also decided to visit Johnny on a set of a commercial to apologize for being a jerk and ask for more information. They were interrupted by an Outworld incursion, which is a massive violation of the Mortal Kombat rules, by the way. Jax held his own against Kintaro until backup arrived. After nearly getting his head taken off by a 4-armed, 8-foot-tall tiger dragon man, Jax decided to do something about this. He teamed up with defenders of Earthrealm and ventured to Outworld, mostly in the hopes of rescuing Sonya. And while his colleagues were busy occupying the forces of Outworld, Jax successfully rescued Sonya, recaptured Kano, and escaped Outworld. Upon his return to Earthrealm, Jax realized it was his turn to sound ridiculous. Despite getting his testimony corroborated by Sonya, Jax's superiors didn't believe his story. Frustrated, but not defeated, Jax used his pull in the military to create his own division, the OIA, the Outworld Investigation Agency. He also decided to reinstall his trademark cybernetic arms here. They might have been overkill for dealing with random human crime cartels, but the forces of Outworld? That's another story. Jax's timing was good, as the OIA's job was to track, monitor, report, and attempt to close any rogue interdimensional portals. And one day, that tracking screen lit up like a Christmas tree. Outworld's invasion of Earthrealm had begun. Jax, Sonya, and other OIA forces joined the defense of Earthrealm, and that portal information was instrumental in repelling Outworld's forces. They also made an unexpected ally in the conflict, in the rogue, conflicted cyber assassin Cyrax, who had been abandoned by the Lin Kuei in the desert. Jax and Sonya recovered Cyrax, repaired the damage done to him, and restored his free will, something the cyberization process had taken away from him. Cyrax, in return, would join the OIA in gratitude. At this point, Kano was dead, but Sonya still had a chip on her shoulder and went missing when rumors of the last living member of the Black Dragons, Jarek, had been active. Knowing his best friend and assuming correctly that Sonya was going after Jarek, Jax followed the breadcrumbs and found Sonya, who had been pulled in to fight the rise of an evil elder god named Shinnok. Jax agreed to help fight Shinnok, seeing it as a way to help Sonya and find Jarek. Eventually, Jax tracked down Jarek and tossed him off a cliff. What, you're surprised? This is Mortal Kombat, and Jax is military. He already killed 4 people. All of them were Black Dragon members, by the way. What's one more? Jax was doing pretty well for himself at this point in his life. He had a successful military career, a branch under his command, the Black Dragon were done, for now, and he had promising new recruits like Cyrax, the blind swordsman Kenshi, and the grappler Su Hao. Things were looking pretty good. This relative high point in Jax's career would unfortunately not last very long. While he and every other noteworthy member of the OIA were out on a mission, the command bunker to the OIA had a nuke detonated inside of it. As it turns out, the Special Forces, and by extension the OIA's vendetta against the Black Dragon, had consequences. Namely the rise of an older, rival crime organization, their name, the Red Dragon. As it turns out, Su Hao was an infiltrator for the Red Dragons, throwing the OIA off the Red Dragon's trail and using information he had from his clan to point the OIA directly at the Black Dragons. And it worked. With the Black Dragon gone, the Red Dragon struck at their next biggest obstacle, the OIA, and Su Hao blew up the command bunker, while Jax was away. This was a mistake. Shortly afterwards, Raiden contacted Jax, telling him Liu Kang, hero of Earthrealm, was dead, and that they must work together to stop the deadly alliance of the sorcerers Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. Also, Su Hao is totally working for those guys. Jax signed up on the spot. After that, nowhere across the realms was safe for Su Hao. Jax tracked down the traitor and, well, Jax is not exactly subtle when it comes to offing cyborg criminals, is he? He tore out Su Hao's cybernetic heart. With his bare hands. Technically. Jax would honor his agreement with Raiden and team up with the defenders of Earthrealm against the Deadly Alliance. But Shang and Quan picked a very appropriate name for their collab. Many of Earthrealm's greatest warriors were killed in the ensuing battle to stop the deadly duo from conquering all of the realms. And Jax was amongst the casualties. But the indignities would not stop there. Jax and many of the fallen were revived by the latest greatest threat to all of the realms, Onaga, the Dragon King. Man, it's always dragons with this guy. Jax was brought back as a mindless drone, used to rattle and intimidate his former allies and defenders of Earthrealm. That was, until, and I'm not making this up, the ghost of Liu Kang, hero of Earthrealm, freed all those trapped by Onaga's magic and brought them back to life properly for revenge. And Jax is all good with revenge. After the defeat of Onaga, Jax was sent by Sonya to search for survivors of a crashed warship made by the Tekunin, the cybernetic breakaway faction of the Lin Kuei. That's a long story, it'll get its own video. And in an odd twist of fate, Jax went missing on this mission, being captured by the Takunin. We're not sure what happened after that, but Jax must have escaped, considering he's at the final battle at the end of all things and all. At the foot of the reality-warping Pyramid of Argus, Jax is seen charging with the Warriors of Light in a last-ditch effort to keep reality intact as we know it. Well, as they know it. In the dizzyingly confusing melee of every single Mortal Kombat character up to that point, Jax would face off against the necromancer Quan Chi, breaking the wizard's leg, being more than a match for the skeleton warriors he would send after him. Jax was confident that he could handle Quan Chi just fine, until he was hit in the back by Shao Kahn's hammer. Now, this sucker punch from Shao Kahn isn't actually what put Jax down. We actually don't know who got him. All we know is that the next time we see him, dead on the ground, he didn't even make it up the stairs of the pyramid. His body is seen run through with a spear at the base of the steps. An ignominious end for such a noteworthy character. But then again, that's kind of what Armageddon was all about. And so ends the first story of Major Jackson Briggs, a tale of loyalty, betrayal, and revenge. From the black guy in Mortal Kombat 2, to a fan-favorite character who got a spin-off game, multiple movie appearances, and is seen again and again as a staple character of the whole franchise. Jax helped establish and define what the world's response would be to extra-dimensional threats in Mortal Kombat, and added so much to the narrative. And this all started by being Sonya's ranking officer going to rescue her. It's pretty wild, but this is just the first timeline of Mortal Kombat. Major Jackson Briggs will be back, but fate won't be much kinder to him next time.
You have been listening to Beef Snake Nerdcast. I have been Bolter. Drop and give me a like and subscribe. Volunteers may donate to my Patreon, linked to down below. They will be compensated by getting early access videos and blooper reels when available. Our next topic of discussion will be Starscream from Transformers Armada. Dismissed!